So, in an attempt to distract us once again, the government is now proposing that polyandry come into legal.
Come into legal.
The government is now proposing that polyandry be legal.
Okay. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know what polyandry is, it's basically when a woman has multiple husbands.
Yes, for reasons we do not know. So when we were looking into why, because it matters, Sure. The minister or someone important, I don't know, they said the reason why they were thinking of doing this is because they want to bring about equality.
That's what we need.
I don't know.
That is what we need to unify the genders.
We
need polyandry. That's the cure.
It's a step. It's a step. I guess. I don't know. I think it's a step. I think it is a step because we're now recognizing that women can have multiple relationships, right?
True. But I guess the point that kept coming up when we were having the discussion on this topic was, okay, they're acknowledging that, yeah, women can have multiple relationships, but can a woman take on multiple wives?
Yeah, because...
Can she have multiple relationships that aren't heteronormative?
Because polyandry... Is it polyandry?
Which one?
The one that we're talking about?
Yes, polyandry.
Sorry, these are confusing. So many polys. Poly means many. Kind of bugged us was that, the not just the heterosexism.
Okay, heterosexism.
Okay, not necessarily just the heterosexism, because guys, queer people, LGBTQ, have multiple relationships as well. But we were also wondering why these relationships that they decided to make legal are centered around one person having multiple relationships with other people. But those people, it doesn't really say much about those people having relationships with each other. Right.
Or with other people outside of that relationship with that one person.
So it was like, why is it so, in a sense, monogamous?
We kind of came to the conclusion that this is kind of, ironically, a mix of polyphobia, polyignorance, and biphobia, in a sense.
So we're going to have a conversation as I am bisexual and monogamous.
And I am polyamorous and a lesbian.
And we're going to try and find some common ground. Because, yeah,
common is a stretch. Let's say middle.
Middle ground.
Middle ground.
So even though, we are experiencing these phobias at the same time, these phobias can occur in monogamous communities, I guess. Communities.
And polyamorous
and polyamory communities, as well as the LGBT and the straights. Because, if there's one thing straight women and lesbian women have in common, it's that they don't like bisexual people. Not all, but there's some sort of a consensus.
Where are your receipts?
You want me to bring the receipts? Do I need to bring the receipts, baby girl? Because I got receipts.
There was a study.
Okay, fine.
There was a study.
Nice.
The multiple videos on YouTube. I don't know how many. I'm saying multiple like I counted them all. Oh, and based on the poll as well.
Oh, yes. The poll we had where so many of you gave us amazing feedback. I'm lying. It was just 2 of you, but we appreciate you both. Basically, the question on the poll was, would you date a bisexual person? And one person was like, I would have to really, really, really like them. Otherwise, no. And I'm like, that's a strange condition to apply to one orientation, but to each his own. And the other person said that they had a horrible experience with bisexual women because they wouldn't see themselves in like a serious long-term committed relationship with a woman, and I relate. So it's not unfounded.
I'm not saying they're unfounded, but I guess what I want to ask you is that
so we're getting into the questions.
I guess, you know what? Let's wait on those questions. We're going to ask each other questions, but right now I just want to know.
Okay.
So you say that you have bad experience with bisexual women. Yeah. Tell me more. What is this bad experience?
With bisexual women. So it's not like the relationships were toxic in any way. They were very great. It's just that it was a thing of like, oh, I'm in university, so I can be with you right now, but I have a boyfriend. I am going to have a husband and kids, because to me, like, when I look at my life in the future, I'm seeing it with another, woman. And you, as a bisexual person, I feel like you kind of have the privilege to decide that, okay, you have privilege of choice.
Privilege?
You do have the privilege of choice, okay? It's a thing of like...
men are privileged?
I mean, I feel like the way society will treat you when you're with a man is a privilege, because when we go to places together, people take us like less seriously compared to if you were with, do you get? Because he's a big alpha male, I'm in. That's the thing. The fact that you could look like you could really, really like someone, right? But then you look at life and you're like, oh my gosh, do I really want to be shouted at as, slurs when I'm walking down the road? Do I want to be holding my partner's hand in fear of my life that someone is going to, bus, or, we can't get jobs, we can't get opportunities just because I am with a woman, Okay. Whereas I can pass as a straight woman and just be with a man. Like, you never have to expose that, I'm a bisexual, it never has to come up. For you. There's some people that, gaydar is kind of there, just a little bit. But some bisexual people can pass and proceed to have relationships, straight passing relationships, and live very normal, healthy, society-approved lives.
Okay, I'm gonna take this in. I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna
okay, fine. Then I have a question. Do you really feel like you don't have the privilege of choice?
Privilege of choice. I mean, I wouldn't call it a privilege per se, because I grew up not knowing I was bi, and so I led a heterosexual life because it was convenient. Not that I didn't feel anything for women, but it just wasn't something I took seriously because it wasn't viable. A relationship with a woman didn't seem viable. It's true. We experience that whether you're gay or bisexual. You kind of feel like, I'm kind of like this, but I don't know if that's going to cut it. Yeah. And I did feel that way. But I guess the issue is that a lot of my relationships felt really... And that's because I didn't know who I was, Sure. And I didn't understand who I was. I guess that's why when you are older and you kind of come to terms, well, once you're in a relationship, some long-term relationship, because I've heard so many stories of people coming out as bi in these long-term relationships with men, and you're kind of like, because it's not really it. I'm not going to speak for other people, but for me it wasn't, because I was hiding this part of myself, and I had really shitty relationships because of it, because I'm hiding from myself, but now I'm hiding from my partners. Sure. And it felt very unfulfilling for me. So it's a privilege in this, maybe not a privilege, but a protective layer, I guess, because you're in hiding, you're in the closet, in a sense, you are in the closet, you're with a man, but not that it's hard being with a man, but I guess just not being able to love women the way you want to. It hurts. So you might be like, it's a privilege that you can be with a man, but it's not. You're in the closet.
Are you just confused with your sexuality? Like, do you feel like, I still have to be with guys, so I can't fully claim that, I'm a lesbian, because I don't see it as a viable identity, but I can claim bisexuality because I want to always have that fallback to be like, I can be with a man?
Personally, if I could, I would not feel anything for men. They're not a feedback. They're not a fallback. At this point, they're not even an option, to be very honest with you. I am not... I don't want to. I don't want it. I don't want it, guys. I don't want to fall back on any man. I'm so sorry. I'm struggling. You know how I feel about my relationships with men and with my internalized homophobia.
Yeah, but you just haven't met the right guy yet, So are you just,
I used to think that was the case. But I guess that's the point. It's not... the right person isn't necessarily based on the gender for me. I'll be happy with the person I love. That's it. Yeah.
Now you make us seem so shallow.
Because no, it's not about being shallow. It's just that when I met you, right, I your gender came second when I met you, because I saw you and I was like, that is hot. That is it. That I don't know what it is, but I want to talk to you. And then I was like, oh shit, she's a girl. It's not specific to a gender.
Okay.
Right? It's just, if I love you, I love you. So, are you poly because you want to fuck a lot of people?
Yes. I'm joking. Did that hurt? Did that hurt a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I can see it in your eyes.
Oh,
I'm
God.
joking. No. I'm not poly because I want to have coitus. Fancy words here. With a lot of people. I have tried threesomes before in my life, because I lived that life, guys, before I settled down to be this triad wife that I am now.
Oh, you're a triad wife.
I sew, I cook, I clean. I tried threesomes, and it was not a very pleasurable experience for me, because it just felt so overwhelming to have two people trying to get at me. You know, I was just, because when I'm engaged in that activity, I want to be just lost in this one person, you know, just deep in it, and just immersed in this individual, you know. And I feel like if there's another person, I have a hard time working with it.
Interesting.
You know, but that's not to say that I can't do it. Like, there is a specific way I can have. No, not gonna go into that.
Go ahead, feel free.
I mean, I think I would be a person, because I've always wanted to go into like these parties that I hear about, because we went to like this other event where it was a lot of sex positivity, and apparently there's a lot of sex parties that were happening before Kafefe. The way I would engage in that is just, you know, be a voyeur and just watch. I would love to watch live people just, you know, loving each other.
So how are you poly?
How am I poly?
Because I guess a lot of people will assume that you want to be poly because you want to have a lot of sex with a lot of people,
or a variety
yes, which is not a bad thing, but I guess that's the assumption that everyone goes on, and I guess, you know, that's what we define as the standard poly. I don't know, some people.
Some people. I mean, I get it, but I think for me it's more a thing of emotional connections, like emotional. I'm all for that. I would have like kitchen table polyamory, whereby we all come together and we're talking and we're engaging and we're just also in love with each other in different ways. Like, some people can have a very platonic, enriching love, some people an emotional love, some people a sexual love, you know, like just embracing all the different kinds of loves and just being in it, you know. I would watch them fuck each other all night. Definitely, I'm there, but I wouldn't be touching anyone in that situation. If I am to touch person, I guess I'm a monogamous.
All right.
but when it comes to,
maybe you're ambiamorous.
What's ambiamorous?
I guess you're okay with being monogamous and being polyamorous, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not like that. It is kind of sex, though. Like, me watching all these people having sex with each other.
Sex.
So I am kind of having sex with a lot of people in that sense. I just don't want them to touch me at the same time.
Okay, so basically, what we're learning from this is that there's no one way to be polyamorous.
Yeah.
I guess you can think of polyamory as an umbrella term of like different ways to have multiple loves.
Yeah.
So polyandry could fall under, and polygamy as well, because some people do have those dynamics.
Yeah, and preferred,
which is okay, as long as people are consenting. You know, like it's hard to define people as just one thing, and that applies to every aspect of their lives. Like, it's like you could say I'm bisexual, but that doesn't mean
you only like boy or girl.
Yeah, it's not as black and white or blue and pink. I don't know. As it may seem, you know. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, do you ever feel guilty being monogamous and being in a relationship with a polyamorous person? Like, not being open to polyamory, in a sense.
Who said I'm not open to polyamory?
No, like, because... Okay, I'm going to expose you a little bit. That's okay. Because when we started getting into queer spaces, there was a lot of talk about polyamory in them. And you felt like, oh, because you were not able to relate to this way of loving, you felt kind of like an outcast. you know, and now you're
Okay.
in a relationship with someone who does love like this, you know, so do you ever feel like an outcast, or do you ever feel guilty in your relationship with me?
I mean, I used to. I used to feel that way in the beginning because I felt like I was just less woke, you know. At the time when I was trying to learn about polyamory, because this was new to me, my only point of reference was like things I saw on like TLC, and that is not a good reference to have ever. So it was just you know, they would have that weird show like, oh, weird couples or things like that, and they make a spectacle. Although they're trying to, you know, show representation, it felt more like they were being a spectacle for like people to be like, oh wow. So when I got into it and I was learning, the people I was like maybe following on social media were very much like, you know, just kind of bashing monogamy, and I don't want to be on the wrong side of history ever. All right, I don't want to never not grow. You know, if someone is like, oh, you know, monogamy is bad, is this or this, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna take note because I need to understand. You know, I'm not gonna be like, that's, you know, disagree with you just because. So I really took that to heart, and I was listening to what people were saying, and you know, yes, I did identify a lot of toxic monogamous traits that I had grown up with that I had to unlearn and undo and stuff. But after that, you know, that just undoing those toxic traits didn't necessarily make me polyamorous. I'm still very much monogamous. Like, we did have a time where I was like trying to like be poly or be in a multiple relationship, but it was just so stressful.
Yeah.
I'm just mono.
You didn't. Yeah, she
I'm
really
just
she can't do it.
it's just like it, and it's not because I hate, you know, multiple relationships. I just can't
Manage
have
them.
I don't have the energy for it. I'm
get
sorry,
that.
girl. It's not within me. So in the beginning I did feel guilty because I felt like I wasn't, you know, progressive enough. And when I'm with you, I felt like maybe I was holding this relationship back from flourishing into the most poly relationship
The
it could
wokest
possibly
thing.
the wokest thing it could possibly be. But I'm just not cut out that way.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily like mono as well, the way you would think a mono is. Because yeah, she doesn't like having touch with a lot of people, but I personally wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team orgy.
Team orgy. No, don't say that.
You said
Oh my
it too.
God,
You said
don't
it too, though. You said it too. I'm repeating what I said.
I become more and more unemployable by the minute.
Yes. So please sponsor us.
But but yeah, I'm just saying I would be fine having relations like that with multiple people, threesomes, twosomes.
But when
I
it
guess.
comes to the emotional side, that's
I'm
where
not-
you can't be
I'm not
invested.
really. I can't do
Wow,
it.
it's like we were
were
coming
like
together, and it
drinking,
was like,
it's
but I can watch.
I can try.
Which I think, okay, we can find some middle ground there. Look at us moving closer together.
But I don't feel guilty because you are an adult.
Yep.
You're an adult. You can decide the kind of relationship you want.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point it kind of stopped becoming a thing of like polyamory versus monogamy for us, but kind of like what relationship structure would work best for us.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, letting these relationship structures dictate to us, we would just kind of like borrow from one or the other to kind of make something that would work for the both of us, which is
Amen.
yeah, because instead of just being like, monogamous, I have to do monogamous things, I was just like, I don't know.
Let's figure it out.
Let's figure it out. Yeah.
So my last question is, do you have a bicycle? And how do you manage it when you're in a committed relationship with someone of the same sex?
I do have a bicycle, and I guess mine is very evident in my taste in. So I think of it that way, like my taste in porn will change. Like, you know, maybe I'll be more into femme things or mask things or a mixture of both. And sometimes I just don't want anything. I guess what your worry is that, you know, when I'm experiencing one of my cycle changes, that you are no longer fitting the criteria of my attraction. There might be a bicycle change where I'm attracted to this or that or whatever, but I'm always attracted to you, like always, you know, just whether I'm feeling very masculine or femme attracted or whatever I'm doing at the moment. I'm always attracted to you. What kind of thing you fit everything. So maybe I'll look at
fit
you.
into you quite nicely.
So maybe if I'm feeling more attracted to masculine energies, maybe I'll look at you in a more masculine view. That's so maybe cool. Things, you do like that are kind of like mask type will just turn me on. Or maybe, you'll be like femme and I'll be like, oh, she's so gorgeous and she's so pretty. And I'll just be like, oh my God, you're so cute. And you're like, oh my gosh, I like your hair and stuff like that. It's and it's
boys
not like
compliments too.
Or maybe you're like androgynous in that sense. And then I'll look at you like, oh, you kind of look cool. So that's my bicycle.
That's news to me, actually. I just learned this. And I feel good.
So then I just ask that people be willing to not stigmatize and generalize all bisexual people. Because yes, internalized homophobia is a thing, and it can be very hard being in a queer relationship when you feel like you have the option or the escape of being in a straight one. But it's harm. It's not a party. People will always frame it like it's a privilege, you can do it, and it's not as easy as it's made to sound. So yeah, don't do that. And also this thing of like, people being afraid that we're attracted to different genders is so weird, because a person is gonna cheat on you if they want to cheat on you. True. Whether it's with a woman or a man doesn't really matter, because you could be saying, like a lot of lesbians will say that, oh, she'll find a man attractive and then she'll cheat with a man. And I'm like, yeah, but if you were dating a lesbian, she could find another woman attractive and she could date the other lesbian.
I mean, I guess it comes back to the insecurities where I feel like I'm lacking. I feel like I tend to generalize men as a monolith of people with appendages. And since I don't have an appendage, I feel like that's what you're going out for. And that's something that I can never provide. Okay, strap-ons or a thing, I get it. But I feel like that's a thing that I can never provide for you. So it'll start to feel like there's something missing that you will always require, and I can't always give it to you. Or I can never give it to you unless it's plastic.
Okay. Why does it matter?
Like I said, it feels like there's something that I'm lacking that I can't give you.
Yeah, I'm not expecting you to give that to me. There's never been an expectation of you to provide that for me.
True.
Like, I never think, oh my gosh, she doesn't have it. Oh, sad emoji. Sure. The way you act, you don't need one. But what I'm saying is that, just because I'm attracted to both doesn't necessarily mean I want them all in one person. And I also feel that way when I'm monogamous and you're poly. Because I also feel like there's something I can never give to you. Which is, that sort of relationship experience where you're like with a poly person and we're being poly together in that sense. And I just am like, I can't participate, which is very hard. So I understand
especially since I want kitchen table polyamory, and it's like you can't participate.
I can't participate in the kitchen.
You can't. It's okay, you can be in the bedroom or you can watch TV whilst we
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have more questions, comment down below, and maybe we'll do another one where we think about this carefully and come back and just hash things out again. But yeah, it was nice talking to you, Miss Poly.
It was nice talking to you. Bye. Get it? Like, because she's bi.